Baby boomers have been witness to so many cultural changes. One that's not often talked about is a different approach to how grief is viewed. In the olden times, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, even in the 80s, the idea was to get out of grief ASAP. Grief was viewed as a malady, a terrifying, messy emotion that needed to be cleaned up and put behind someone ASAP. It's viewed differently now. Now the idea is more about developing skills to withstand the grief within ourselves and to be able to be comfortable in the presence of someone else's grief. Grief is now much more viewed as a normal, natural, sane response, not to be shunned or rushed. In our early life as boomers, grief was a problem to be solved. Now it's an experience that needs to be tended to. Stage theory regarding grief. The idea of stages was originally stages of death, not stages of grief. And the idea of stages has become much less popular in the 21st century. When you and I were young, there was a real emphasis on positive thinking, and that was the approach to grief. Now in 21st century, it's much more emphasized to be able to feel your feelings. The idea was you needed to accept the loss and move on. That is now not a politically correct thing to say. Now, instead of moving on, people speak of moving forward. Sometimes you move forward and you take your grief with you and you learn how to coexist with it. In the olden times, the idea was to return to normal as soon as you can and to put the grief behind you. Nowadays, it's more about creating a new normal, because if you've had a significant loss in your life, the normal that you knew is no longer available to you. You are tasked with creating a new normal. The idea no longer is to put grief behind you, but to learn how to absorb it, incorporate it into who you are, to make room for it. When we were young, we all heard time heals all wounds. Time, you're our age, we know that time does not heal all wounds. Some pain is immovable. In the past, people were very uncomfortable with intimate conversations because no one knew what to say or what to do. That's been replaced by 21st century thinking of learning to develop emotional competency. Sure, you're still not going to know what to do or say, but you can certainly listen and do so without judgment and learn to ask sensitive questions. In the old days, grief was a problem that was to be solved. Now, in modern times, grief is an experience to be tasted. People avoided the subject of death and grief altogether as a means to protect the griever. We've all seen the old movies likely where perhaps a child's mother died and the child was informed of the death of their parent and it was never spoken of again throughout that child's life. That was a very, very old-timey belief. No longer is that the case. In the past, grievers often felt alone and misunderstood. Hopefully in the 21st century, that is less the case and more that grievers can feel understood and supported. Thank you for watching. Please check out my other videos with insights and information that might help you make aging and retirement some of the best years of your life. Thank you.